Hello. Thank you all so much for tuning in. My name is Anna White, and I'm excited to share my Capstone project with you. Today, I would like to talk with you about the purpose and importance of my work and how it's reflective of my journey through my master's in leadership development. I feel that this capstone represents much more than just the deliverable that it produced. This work encompasses a unique combination of my passions, lived experiences, and education. I would like to start by telling you a little bit more about who I am. I grew up in Centennial, Colorado, a suburb just outside of Denver. I was raised in a very loving household where we valued education, family, and service. From a young age, I loved school. I was a stereotypical teacher's pet, always eager to stay in during lunch or after school to help my teachers with their projects. I would cry on the last day of every school year because I didn't want it to end. From a young age, I was also afforded a lot of opportunities to participate in community service. I remember doing service activities through my Girl Scout troop, my elementary and middle schools, and with my family. One of my most memorable experiences was when my 4th and 5th grade class would volunteer at a women and children's shelter in downtown Denver. Every few months, a family from our class would bring ingredients to the shelter. We would spend the evening preparing dinner and sharing a meal with the residents of the house. Reflecting back, I strongly believe that experiences like this as a young child shaped my passion for helping others. Fast forward to almost a decade later. I relocated to Orange, California, and I was an undergraduate student at Chapman University. I fell in love with the institution. One of the most notable parts of my undergraduate experience was the constant emphasis on community. I experienced the sense of community through my relationships with friends, mentors, classmates, and coworkers. My senior year, I started a work-study position in student engagement. I was a psychology major and had every intention of pursuing a career in research psychology following the completion of my undergraduate degree. As the year went on, I found my career interest shifting as I was really interested in my work-study position. I became increasingly more curious about what a career in student affairs would look like. After hearing this, the graduate assistants in student engagement recommended me to the MLD program. They were in the first cohort model of the program and absolutely sold me on their experience. I was thrilled by the idea that this program was rooted in social justice and making the world a better place. This program ties all of my strongest personal values to a profession that I'm incredibly proud to be a part of. During the fall of 2019, I had the opportunity to start learning about the impact of basic needs insecurities as they relate to college students. In my assistantship with Associated Students Inc. at Cal State Fullerton, I was able to help prepare a monthly pop-up style food pantry. This was my first experience with a university food pantry, as this was not a resource that I had ever heard of as an undergraduate student. The more I was able to learn about the resources available to my students at Cal State Fullerton, the more I wanted to learn about what was available to my students at Chapman. Around the same time, I was in my creative inquiry class and needed to choose a capstone project. I quickly realized that taking on basic needs, specifically food insecurity, as my topic would allow me the opportunity to gain an in-depth knowledge of a topic that piqued my interest, and it would also allow me to grow as a leader and educator by increasing the avenues in which I could support my students. Simply put, this project was created to break down the barriers, falsities, and stigmatizations regarding basic needs and food insecurity of college students. Furthermore, I present information on how there's an institutional responsibility to ensure that students in need have access to basic needs resources, such as reliable food sources. For this project, I partnered with multiple departments at Chapman University to help understand what resources are currently available and how those resources compare to that of other institutions. From this, I created a series of recommended action steps for Chapman University to take in order to ensure that there are adequate basic needs resources available to their students. Additionally, throughout my deliverable, I present relevant data and information about food insecurity to help develop a visibility campaign for food insecurity awareness. The hope is that the deliverable from this project will be given to the new food pantry assistant in order to help educate them on the overarching goals and importance of their position. The food pantry assistant is a new student staff position that will be working with the campus food pantry through the Department of Residence Life and First Year Experience. The project I've created is titled Silent Barriers: Food Insecurity at Chapman University. This project serves the purpose of making higher education more accessible by creating and enhancing the channels of support that are available to students. This project uses the definition by Asil Alzine in 2019 that food insecurity is the limited or uncertain availability of food that is nutritionally adequate and safe, or is the uncertain availability to acquire food in acceptable ways. The information gained from the literature review provided the base knowledge to help define food insecurity, highlight the prevalence, and exemplifies how to start the creation of basic needs resources at a university. 3 important themes were highlighted in the literature: the stigmatization surrounding basic needs insecurities, the rising financial burden on students, and the impact basic needs resources have on accessibility to higher education. Throughout these themes, there's an underlying lack of public information and awareness of basic needs and securities in general, let alone that of higher education students. A plethora of research exists on relevant subtopics surrounding basic needs, but I found the most useful researchers for my project to be Asil Elzine, Carla Shellnut, Ann Matthews, Linda Knoll, and Marin Maynard. Multiple of their projects cited that there were no commonly known criteria for who qualified as food insecure. As such, students who were unsure of their insecurity status typically did not seek out resources. The literature also identified that this lack of information created a stigmatization around basic needs resources that caused individuals to ignore their security status or work to hide it in fear of social backlash. In correlation with the rising prevalence of food insecurity over the past few decades is the rise in institutional tuition rates and decreased availability of state and national funding to institutions. As a result, the financial burden on students attending these institutions is exponentially higher than ever before. There have been efforts to combat these burdens. Financial aid packages and student loans are more thorough than ever before, but in many cases, they account for the reality that students are using loans to pay for housing, food, and other living-related expenses. Yet, there's a missing link where students are not being educated enough on the benefits of their financial aid packages and how each student can utilize what is available to them. As such, institutions have noticed that students may not actually be taking out the full amount that they need to cover all of their costs. This discrepancy in finances is causing students to choose between paying educational costs and living costs. With such little information and a lack of awareness, students who are in need and qualify for basic needs resources often have no idea that these resources exist, much less how to access them. This combination creates a perfect storm, making this struggle nearly invisible but widely prevalent. The information presented in this project brings awareness to a topic that is currently under-resourced at Chapman University. The Chapman University mission states that it is to provide a personalized education of distinction that leads to inquiring, ethical, and productive lives as global citizens. A global citizen is commonly defined as someone who takes an active role to make the world a more equal and just place through celebrating diversity and having an understanding that all people are equal. As such, I see this fight against basic needs and security directly in line with the Chapman University mission. This project will serve as a call to action for Chapman University to ensure that they are fulfilling the mission of the university by providing student support in this capacity. Furthermore, this project helps to provide a basis of information to educate the community on what basic needs resources are, the prevalence of basic needs insecurities, and the impact on a student's success that providing these resources can have. My journey through this project has provided me with a few key learnings. Most importantly, I learned the value and impact that my voice can have. I learned that I have the ability to make significant and meaningful change within my community. Working on this project, I realized how important it is for me to build my leadership practices around my personal values. In my opinion, the most effective leaders are those who have a deep-rooted passion for the work that they are doing. The creation of my Capstone Project allowed me to design a research-based action plan that is rooted in democratic processes and results in system changes that are intended to heighten the equity, community, and social justice of Chapman University. I started this capstone from my passion of making higher education more accessible. And from this passion project, I have discovered how I can utilize my voice to make change. And from that, I've begun to define who I am as a leader. My experience in the MLD program has allowed me the time and space I needed in order to define who I am and who I want to be. This program has challenged me to reflect and engage with my life experiences in an effort to help me understand how I have become the person that I am. This has allowed me to practice my ability to tell my story, which I have found to be a key trait in both leaders and educators. I've also learned theory and learned how to manipulate theory to understand different situations and organizations. This has allowed me to understand how to evaluate the impact I can have in every situation and to make conscious decisions with a larger scope in mind. My lens of the world has been expanded. I now have the ability to apply different perspectives to a single situation. Furthermore, I've learned how I can use my experiences in combination with theory to make informed decisions. My experience in the MLD program has taught me about society, democracy, and social justice. I have a much deeper understanding of what my citizenship in the United States of America affords me and how I can use my rights, freedoms, and voice to make change in society. I've learned and interacted with the incredibly complex and codependent relationship between higher education, government, and the general public. Higher education has an ability to shape society that is unparalleled by any other type of organization. My experience in the MLD program has taught me the nuances of vastly different approaches to leadership. It has given me the opportunity to explore different leadership styles in a safe environment where feedback was plentiful. I was able to use this to influence my work ethic and help define who I am as a higher education professional. This capstone project has allowed me a unique ownership over my educational experience. It has allowed me to spend a lot of time gaining a deeper understanding on a topic that I'm passionate about. This project has created a foundation for basic needs and student advocacy that will always shape my work as a professional. This experience has allowed me to find my voice in addressing problems and making change within higher education. Finally, there are a lot of people that I would like to thank. Whether you helped me create this project or you helped me walk through this program, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for you. Thank you to my parents, my family, and my entire support system. You mean the world to me, and I never would have been able to achieve this degree if it weren't for your sacrifices, pep talks, and constant love. Thank you to my cohort, my accountability buddies, and my MLD family for constantly inspiring me, challenging me, and helping me to uncover my passion for higher education. I've learned so much from you all, and I'm in awe of your individual achievements. Thank you to my MLD professors and my professional mentors for showing me the ropes, opening my mind to new worlds of thought, and mostly for believing in me. The environments you all created allowed me the space I needed to grow both personally and professionally. Thank you to my critical friend, Julian Corpus, and my editor, Katie Shortall. Your check-ins, advice, and critiques truly pushed me to put my whole heart into this project and program. Thank you to Maddie Buss for bringing my vision to life and creating the most beautiful and thought-provoking artwork. She drew the poster that you're looking at now. Thank you to my students at both Chapman and Fullerton for being the reason I love what I do. You're the world's future change makers, and I'm beyond excited to see how you will shape it. Lastly, I would like to end by saying a very heartfelt thank you to you. If you've made it this far, you either care about me or you care about the content of this project. Either way, your support is allowing me to share my passion and do what I love. I owe it all to each and every one of you. If you have any questions for me, please reach out to me via email at white179@mail.chapman.edu or via LinkedIn. Thank you.